Hello and welcome. It's The Chat. My name is Manny. My guest on the program is variously referred to as the generation of broadcasters called the limited edition. There are not many of them in the country. He is the first sports broadcaster in Nigeria.
Dele Adetiba is the foremost Nigerian sports commentator, a veteran broadcaster and an advertising guru with over 35 years of meaningful contribution to the media space. He started his professional journey as a sports analyst on Radio Nigeria and in a year became the nation's main sports commentator, running live commentaries on television and radio across the country. Dele later joined Linters Limited, which was the biggest advertising agency in Nigeria at the time. In Linters, he grew within the ranks from a client service manager to become the chief executive, designing communication ideas for a wide range of global brands within and outside Nigeria. Dele is a member of the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria and a fellow of the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria. He was a council member of the association for years. Dele's love for sport saw him become the secretary of the Lagos Boxing Board of Control in the early 80s, with a membership which spanned over 4 decades. He also served 2 terms as the chairman of the Ikoyi Golf Club and an active sportsman who still plays lawn tennis 3 times a week at the age of 75. Dele Adetiba is married to Mayen Adetiba, a civil engineer, and he is a father of 3.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's been a while. The last time I saw you was almost 10, 15 years back. Is it up to
That long?
You know, probably not. Okay, yeah, you reminded me, it was at the funeral of the late Ikenanda.
Right.
And I was talking about people they refer to. So a list of people referred to as limited edition, of broadcasters. You don't find them everywhere. Your name, Ikenanda Guba, Ron Mbatogu, Kevin Amechi, Ishalafa. I could go on, but they're not more than 20. I'm happy that I was listed.
Well, yeah. I consider myself part of a generation you might call transitional. Most of the people I met in broadcasting were first-generation broadcasters in the country. O.J. Nana, Shola Folorunsho Show, the Illumidays, Reverend Badejo, who was the...
So when you came into the job of broadcasting, who gave you the go-ahead?
I was always fascinated by sports.
Did you engage in sports in your school?
I did, but I wasn't an outstanding sports person as such. I played a lot of table tennis.
Oh, really?
I ambled around the football pitch. We played quite a bit of cricket, but I was never any of the big boys. But I was always very interested in sports. If you don't know what you're interviewing the man about, then it's going to be a lousy interview. And I remember I interviewed Amo, who was one of Nigeria's best sprinters ever.
Yeah, I remember him.
And then I asked him a question in the AAA, which was the senior All Nigeria athletics contest then. He won 100 yards, then not meters. He won the 220, not 200 meters then, and the 440. And after each event, he fainted. He then explained to me that he was then at University of Ibadan. It was a fasting period. He was a Muslim, and he came from Ibadan. He was fasting. It was stressful. And so after each, he hadn't broken his fast. He refused to break his fast. And after each event, he fainted. But what I'm driving at is, when people heard the program, and they kept saying, how did you know all of this? I was in Form 3 then. So I wasn't a contemporary of AKM, but I was there on the spot when it happened. In other countries, you had people doing research for you, who will bring out all of these things for you if you're talking to somebody. We don't have that resource here. I don't know whether they do now. So you've got to have a lot of it in your head. And so it helps if you're able to recall these things. And because I was always interested, I could. So to answer your question, I then found it easy to slot into sports in broadcasting because I was always interested in sports anyway.
When you listen to present-day sports commentators, with all the facilities at their disposal, including the new technologies and the access to information, as you say, what do you think? Where does the difference lie?
Particularly with sports podcasts?
Yes.
I think the basic difference I find with broadcasters today, which you can relate to almost any facet of broadcasting to start with, is they tend to take it for granted. In our time, it was work. The glamour part of it was incidental. If you miss that part of it, which says this is serious business, then you're a little lax, and it shows in everything. As I said earlier on, you routinely hear jersey number 4 now, or 5, and people think they can bluff their way through by just rambling.
I know that you eventually went to television permanently, didn't you? For how long did you do this?
I was part of, for lack of a better expression, a unique group of those who operated radio and TV almost simultaneously.
Again, that's true, because I mean, I was asking you before we came to this interview, I thought you started at the time the television went color. But you reminded me that you never saw color. You were all part of the black and white generation.
Absolutely.
Of Nigerian television.
Absolutely.
By the time you made up your mind to move on, so to speak, you went into advertising. Why the choice?
Why the choice? That's an interesting one. Many people assumed I left broadcasting to make more money.
Was that wrong?
Beg your pardon?
Was that wrong?
Not entirely right. Of course, as time went on, industry ballooned and salaries were much
So that
higher.
was not the main reason why you had to move on?
It wasn't. Many of my colleagues had gone on to advertising, and there looked like a natural shift. There was Femi Williams, who was ahead of me on TV,
OBM.
moved to OBM. Kemi Adioshun moved also to advertising. Quite a number of course, Onomea Hante, one of our colleagues.
It was a trend.
That was a trend then. Sheikh Mugubumi, and one of them came one day and said, Here you have. I've collected a form for you, for linters. And it's a unique kind of form. It was green, you know. Now I'm wondering, what do I do with this? I fill it and let me have it. Okay, I filled it, and I was eventually called for a chat. I remember the first few meetings I went when I joined, and they were talking about 40 sheet and 16 sheet at a formal meeting, and I was saying to myself, they're speaking English, but I had no idea what they were talking about. And I didn't consider myself that dumb. You know, I couldn't pick it together. They had terminologies. 16 sheet was outdoor, the size of outdoor. 40 sheet was it's a different ball game completely. Back and forth.
Did you not feel like leaving a glamorous job of radio, television, and going into advertising? Or did you feel like advertising was even much more glamorous?
No. I suppose it's going from the known to the unknown.
And even the privilege you had of interviewing Muhammad Ali. Do you know what? There's nothing greater than that. Tell me your experience. How did it happen?
I was handling the sports desk in television then. I think this must have been after the first Joe Frazier fight, which was 1971. And I had in fact moved full-time to radio, but as I said, we were interchangeable. So I was doing this sports program on a weekly basis, and he came to the country, and it was my privilege to interview him. As I kept saying to people, one of the first things that struck me was he was a much bigger person
in size?
In size than what you saw on TV.
Someone who's as tall as you are, did you feel intimidated?
He was about 5 inches taller than me. I mean, he was getting to the studio, he had to bend down. But he was so proportionately hewn out that it didn't show. You didn't see a massive chest and a small waist. He was just built. It was just a fine piece of work.
Did you interview anyone else apart from Muhammad Ali? I mean, of that?
Oh yeah, I interviewed Floyd Patterson.
Oh.
He was also a heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I remember Floyd Patterson.
Yeah.
Ali beat him, at one stage, didn't he?
Yes, Ali destroyed him.
Yes. One of your offsprings is in the media.
Yep.
That's your daughter, Kemi Adetiba. She's doing extremely well.
Thank you.
How does it make you feel?
Very happy. My notion about growing up is to have the ability to make the right choices. I'm a violently independent kind of person. And to that extent, I concede that much to my kids. At some point, you should let them be what they want to be. Like Kemi would come with me to the studios when she was younger. The older sister even did a lot more, and she didn't follow, So Kemi obviously had some aptitude, which the exposure helped to reveal.
She appeared to be closer to you than to her mom.
I don't know about that.